Hey, what's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from chasingstrength.com. And in today's video, we are going to answer the question, what's missing from your kettlebell workout or your kettlebell workout programs? Now, what's precipitating this question is the fact that I routinely get emails asking me about exercises to include or exclude inside a particular kettlebell workout or kettlebell program. And personally, I think that's a great thing. We should all be informed and take responsibility for our strength and our health. At least that's my belief, and that's how I live my life. That way, I'm not dependent on someone else to take care of me. So in the past couple of videos, you may have noticed, if you're watching this in sequence, we've been focused on the legs and kettlebell work. But today, I thought we'd discuss whether or not direct back work, there's the air quotes, right, is missing from your kettlebell training. And that's because I've received multiple emails that go something like this. We'll flash this up on the screen so you can read along, okay? Do I need to do direct back work like rows or face pulls with, insert the name of the kettlebell program here, or am I getting enough work from doing name of the kettlebell exercises or exercise here, okay? Now, personally, I think that's a really great question. But before I answer it, let's dig into a little backstory, shall we? All right, so somewhere around 1997, 1998, when I was still a wet behind the ears strength and conditioning coach at Rutgers, I read an article from some expert somewhere about how all pushing movements should be balanced by pulling movements, and they should be balanced by movements in the same plane. And maybe you've heard this or read this as well, because it's been going around for a while. And again, we'll put this up on the screen so you can actually see what this looks like. So we have horizontal pushing, and that would be exercises like the bench press and push-ups or dumbbell bench press. And then we have horizontal pulling, and that's generally rowing. So you'd have barbell rows, dumbbell rows, kettlebell rows, those sort of things, seated cable rows. If you remember the old bodybuilding days, right, we have vertical pushing. So that'd be shoulder or military press. We have dips. Okay, that's vertical pushing just from a different position. And then we have vertical pulling, which would be pull-ups, chin-ups, upright rows, those sorts of things. And according to this theory, each one of those should, in most cases, be balanced rep for rep, unless, of course, there's been too much loading in one area, like horizontal pushing, because, no one ever does too much bench press or too many push-ups. And yes, that's sarcasm in case you can't tell. So in those cases, the over-dominant movement can either be dropped for a period of time or put on what's called a retaining load while its opposing movement is worked or programmed aggressively. So for example, you do a set of 10 push-ups and then you do your variation of rows. So you do 4 sets of 10 rows. Now, with that as the background, let's look at the two dominant upper body kettlebell exercises. They are the Turkish get-up and the military press. Okay, both have one similarity in common. And that is they're both vertical pushing movements, or said another way, they're shoulder flexion exercises. Okay, this is shoulder flexion, all right, where the arm straightens over the head. So the TGU holds the shoulder in flexion, and the military press moves the shoulder into and out of flexion. Now, both train the muscles that contribute to shoulder health as well. The rhomboids, which connect the shoulder blades to the spine and aid in retraction and depression, and the middle and lower traps, which also aid in shoulder blade retraction, upward rotation, and depression. Now, here's what I rarely hear anybody discussing. Shoulder flexion is the one movement that we tend to lose as we age, and the one shoulder movement that retains almost always all the other shoulder movements. And that's because the 4 major movements of the shoulder blade are elevation, which is shrugging up like this, depression, which is shrugging down, retraction, which is moving the shoulder blades back towards the spine, and protraction, which is moving the shoulder blades away from the spine like that, okay? So full and healthy shoulder flexion moves the shoulder blade through all those ranges of motion, okay? So I can go deep in the weeds here, but I won't now in order to save time. So you just have to trust me on that. You can go look it up if you want, okay? There's a great book called Structural Kinesiology. I don't remember who wrote it. It's 25, 30 years old. Fantastic. We'll show you all this stuff. But back to the TGUs, the Turkish get-ups. So they help restore those movements through isometric muscle actions, okay, or holding the weight in one position for a period of time, and that is holding the weight usually over the head in some way, shape, or fashion. Now, presses, they restore, strengthen, and maintain those shoulder blade mechanics if you do them correctly, okay? Incidentally, and this is a strange one, most people don't think about this, so do snatches, kettlebell snatches specifically, okay? And this is why some people see their shoulder issues disappear when they restore lost shoulder flexion using movements like the Turkish get-up and then progressing to the military press and then progressing to the snatch in that order, okay? And others even see increases in performance metrics like increased bench press and the number of push-ups they can do simply by using those 3 exercises. Okay, it's kind of crazy, but that's what we've seen routinely in the last 20 years since the birth of the kettlebell renaissance. Okay, so let's answer this question directly. Okay, so do you need, okay, all caps, need to add exercises like rows into your kettlebell programming? Well, the answer is the usual, it depends. But if you have healthy shoulders, then generally speaking, no, you don't have to unless you want to. And should you have them in your program, right? All caps, should. Okay, again, not necessarily. However, if you can't put your arms over your head in line with your ears and perpendicular to the ground, man, slurring my words today. Promise I don't drink, so I don't know what it is. Okay, so this is what I mean. If you cannot get your arm here, all right, perpendicular to the ground, parallel with the ear, all right, like this, maybe even slightly behind it without arching your back. And so if your arm is stuck here, then you may want to consider doing some rows, okay? Because the rows will help you strengthen the retraction and depression and actually protraction function of your shoulder blades, all right? Does that make sense? And of course, like we mentioned earlier, that in turn can help you restore proper shoulder flexion, especially when combined with the Turkish getup and eventually some military presses down the line. All right, making sense? But generally, let me just say this. Over the last 20 years or so, I've found that focusing on shoulder flexion, the Turkish get-ups, and the military press, right? Those 2 movements, generally speaking, keep the shoulders healthy and strong, even though there's no direct pulling in pressing dominant programs. Because when, or should I say, if, okay, because it's a choice, if you learn how to use the active negative during the military press, right, you can get your pulling in. Okay, so at the end of the day, will it hurt to add horizontal pulling exercises like rows or face pulls to your current plan? Yeah, probably not. Just be mindful it doesn't tap into your recovery ability. Okay, also remember, at the end of the day, one of the reasons we use kettlebells, and in particular, a limited number of kettlebell exercises, is because doing so eliminates most of the need for all the other traditional fitness exercises. Okay, that's all I pretty much got to say about that. I feel like I'm channeling Forrest Gump there. However, if you need or want a program that incorporates not only rows, but a larger than normal variety of other kettlebell exercises in order to get leaner and stronger at the same time, then I'll leave a link in the description below for one that covers all those bases. Okay. And well, what if you're not sure about what your military press technique should look like? Okay. Or how to do those active negatives, or what proper Turkish get-up technique should look like? Well, I'll leave a link in the description below for a video course that will show you all those techniques, okay? And will keep you from getting injured. And finally, if you have been injured, right, and you don't have that shoulder flexion like we were demonstrating earlier in this video, and you want to get yours back so you can enjoy the wonders of pressing and heavy get-ups and all kinds of fun stuff like that, and the excitement of snatches without jacking up your back or your shoulder, well, then I'll leave a link for the restoration protocol that I personally use myself, and we'll put that in the description below for you as well. Okay, so hopefully you liked this video, and if you did, go ahead and click the like button. If you have any comments, right, what your experience has been with rows, face pulls, adding exercises, going on a pretty much kettlebell exercise only strict diet, right, what your results have been, go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and share this with a few friends and family members that you think would find this helpful as well. All right. Until next time, my friend, stay strong.